Okay, let us begin with our topic of envy. And in order to discuss this topic, I would like to read a verse from the Bhagavatam, 4:8-34. You only have the number there, you don't have the verse. And I put that consciously like this, because I want you to hear very carefully, and then we will collect, we will gather together all the different things, envious behavior, non-envious behavior. So, 4:8-34. Translation is the following. Is there anybody else out there who wants to continue participating? Then please come in, because we want to start. Otherwise we will not have enough time. Shift change of translators. Okay, I think now we're ready, no? So please listen carefully. We are reading 4:8-34. You have that verse there, Anastasia? Yes? Good. So listen carefully. Every man should act like this. When he meets a person more qualified than himself, he should be very pleased. When he meets someone less qualified than himself, he should be compassionate towards him. And when he meets someone equal to himself, he should make friendship with him. In this way, one is never affected by the threefold miseries of this material world. Already that is a pretty amazing statement. You know? That if we just learn how to act properly, we will never be affected by the threefold miseries of this material world. Wow, that's a pretty good promise. You know? So now, purport. Listen carefully. Generally, when we find someone more qualified than ourselves, we become envious of him. When we find someone less qualified, we deride him. And when we find someone equal, we become very proud of our activities. These are the causes of all material tribulations. Again, we have this statement. Right? The great sage Narada therefore advised that a devotee should act perfectly. Instead of being envious of a more qualified man, one should be jolly to receive him. Instead of being oppressive to a less qualified man, one should be compassionate towards him and just to raise him to the proper standard. And when one meets an equal, instead of being proud of one's own activities before him, one should treat him as a friend. One should also have compassion for the people in general who are suffering due to forgetfulness of Krishna. And one more time, Prabhupada says it. These important functions will make one happy within this material world. Wow, amazing. One can actually be happy in this material world. Prabhupada says it right here. If we learn how to act properly towards seniors, equals, juniors. And because, you know, actually it describes how envy manifests towards seniors, towards equals, towards juniors. You know? That's what the whole verse is all about. It is very simple actually, and it might not even be so much big news here, but yet it is very profound, especially when we more deeply analyze things and understand it. So, yeah, so let us first of all remember envy. How does it come about? What is envy? Who can quickly tell? Yes?
Desire to possess something that belongs to someone else.
We want to possess something which belongs to somebody else, yes. Or envy comes about because we want to be the supreme enjoyer and controller, right? We want to be supreme. And that's a certain consciousness. And that consciousness comes out in all our relationships, in all our activities. We are using any relationship to establish that we are actually better. It comes out towards seniors, it comes out towards juniors, equals, it comes out towards juniors. Because it's a certain consciousness, a certain mindset. We want to be the supreme enjoyer and controller. And envy, very, very subtle forms it takes, you know, very subtle. Actually, I was very briefly talking about this a couple of weeks ago when I was invited to give Bhagavatam class. There is this funny little thing. In 589, the Bhagavatam 589, there is, in the word-for-word translation, Kalal, or Kalor, meaning the envious, and Prabhupada in brackets, almost everyone. Almost everyone. So it means we have to assume it includes us. You know? That we are part of this almost everyone. You know, because very often we think envious just the others, but I'm not envious, it's not me. We don't even want to say it, I am envious. You know, oh no, not me. You know, isn't it? It is, you know, it's not so easy to actually admit that, yes, I also have envy in my heart. You know? And Prabhupada very clearly says it, almost everyone. So, you know, it makes it pretty clear. We have to assume that we are included here. Right? So that is the basic thing of envy, how it comes about, because we want to establish our supremacy. We want to show that we are the supreme enjoyer and controller, basically. Right? So now, you've got on your sheet there some dotted lines, right, where you can fill in. You know, let us collect the envious way of dealing towards the seniors. What is the envious behavior towards seniors? What did Prabhupada say? Well, he didn't elaborate too much. He said we are envious of him.
Deride them.
Huh?
Deride them of their position.
The deriding was not towards seniors. Prabhupada later, when he describes how we should act, he says something, what we should be doing, and we can just take the negative. Yes, displeased. We are not jolly to receive him. Right? We think, oh no, this person is coming here, stealing my show. Let's hope he will leave soon again after 2 days. You know? Oh, Prabhu, how long are you staying? Okay, good. Oh, thank God after 5 days he's gone. Yeah, so we are not so pleased to receive the person. So, and what else? What else? There's so much more there we do. Huh?
Well, you don't respect them then?
Yes, we don't respect. So how does that manifest practically? How does it show that we don't respect? What do we do?
When they try to give instruction, we say, I know.
Yeah, that's one thing maybe, yes. You mean when he gives instruction we say, I know? Okay, yes. What else?
You're not humble for this person.
Yes, we are not humble, so how does it manifest? Let's get practical here. What are we doing? What are we doing? Come on.
Arrogant pride. You're arrogant?
Yeah, arrogant pride, so how does it manifest? We don't have any willingness to serve, yes. And much more than that, much more, come on. Fault finding, now we're getting into it. Yes, we criticize, we find faults, we backbite, you know. Why do we do it? Yes, to minimize his importance, so that we establish our superior position, right? Also, another good way to do this, not of course good, but common way is by ignoring that person, simply not giving him any attention, any, you know, value there, any recognition. We just ignore it. The person is not there. Yeah? Yes. Very common thing, you know. Sometimes these things go on in a very subtle way. We might not even realize. We might not be conscious. We just ignore. Pretend that this person has absolutely no importance. Right? Yes. Yes. So in all different ways we try to diminish his importance so we can, you know, establish our superior position. You know? When somebody says something nice about a person, you know, senior devotee, then we come and say, but you know, actually I know something which you might not know, you know, just to make the, you know, make it clear, he's not that fantastic after all, you know. Yes, and actually I'm better anyway. Yes. Yes. So that's how the envy manifests, especially all this talking bad, criticizing, backbiting, fault finding. You know, it is simply the subtle desires there that we establish our superior position. Yes, yes, that's what it's all about. Yes. So now, what would be the non-envious way towards the senior? Yes, yes, Prabhupada says we should be pleased, jolly to meet him. We receive him nicely. And how do we, you know, relate to a senior person?
Inquire submissively.
And?
Render service.
Exactly. So that is not only towards Guru, it is actually towards any senior person. We are meant to serve and inquire. That's the whole thing, you know. That's how we take advantage of a senior person's presence. And we want to learn something from him. We want to squeeze something out of him. You know? Yes, yes, yes. We'll talk about that more in detail tomorrow, because tomorrow we'll discuss all the qualities we need to have in order to be eager for shelter. And that is already a bit of an eye-opener that we realize, I'm lacking in these qualities. That's the problem. And definitely in materialistic culture, people are not striving for that at all. You know? Yes. And that's a bit of an eye-opener why sometimes people feel, oh, this council system only works in Chowpatty. Yeah, well, because there's still a little bit of spiritual culture left, and people have more that eagerness to actually take shelter. It's more cultivated still. But then in the Western world, people don't even strive for those qualities. It's a whole thing. It becomes very clear. Tomorrow it becomes clear. So yeah, we can just leave it at that for the time being. So this unit person, we're jolly to receive it. We are eager to serve. We are eager to learn from it. We are eager to inquire from him. There's this respectful mood there. Like that. So now let's have a look towards juniors. How does envious behavior manifest towards juniors? Yes.
We're laughing at them. Laughing.
Yes. Is one way, belittling, deriding, making fun out of him. Fun at his expense. We look all smart and witty here, and we make fun on his expense. Often these things are going on in a subtle way. We might not even realize, that actually deep down there is some hidden envy there. We are trying to show off that I am actually superior, and we are using our superior position in a subtle way for our subtle gratification. Yes. And what other ways does it manifest?
Demoralize the junior. Demoralize the juniors.
Demoralize. How do we do this sometimes? How does it manifest? Yeah, we humiliate, or how else does it manifest?
Speak a lot of high philosophy to make him feel less.
Can also be that we are, trying to impress him, with all the knowledge we have, using all kinds of terms which he doesn't even understand yet or something. Yeah, can also be. But how else?
Disregard their opinion.
We disregard their opinion. Huh? Not acknowledge them. Yes.
Dismiss them.
Yes, dismiss. In practical ways, sometimes it shows that we either under-engage them, that we actually want to keep them down. We don't want them to become more successful than we are, and therefore we keep them down, especially if it is a capable person who might become more capable than we are eventually, so that we under-engage him. We want to make sure he stays below us. Again, we are trying to establish our superior position. So we either under-engage him, or we are over-engaging him. We're giving him too difficult tasks, and then, just see, I knew you can't do it anyway, just see. Right? These things can sneak in. What else? Yes? Yes, we don't want to help, we don't want to affectionately and selflessly reach out to him and uplift him, but yes, we somehow press him down, or we are very heavily, constantly correcting him. This can also be a sign of envy. One thing I have to clearly establish, this discussion is meant to help us detect our envy in our hearts. Right? It is not meant to point the finger at others. Oh yeah, my authority is doing that with me. Oh yeah. Right? What does that indicate if we point the finger at others?
All fine.
Envy. Right? If we use this discussion simply to point the finger at others, It's again a sign of envy. Because there can be situations, you know, well, maybe we think, oh, my authority is always correcting us, but maybe he is meaning it in a very well-wishing way, in a very affectionate way, and just because our vision is cloudy here through our attachments, we might not understand, you know? I mean, Prabhupada, my God, he was so heavy sometimes, but then very often Prabhupada was saying, don't mind, you know, it is my duty, out of affection, I am trying to correct you and train you, and you know, so just the fact that a person is heavy doesn't mean he is envious. So we should not jump to conclusions and judge others, you know, but these things are meant to judge ourselves. If we always find ourselves that we can't stop ourselves constantly correcting somebody in a very strong and maybe a little harsh way, well then we should be looking in our heart. Maybe there is some envy there that we use every opportunity to put that person down to establish our superior position. That's the whole purpose of this discussion, you know? Yeah, so heavily overcorrecting, deriding, pressing down, making fun. Also sometimes we are very impatient with young devotees. Oh, he is useless, I can't work with him, you know? Or I have no time for you, you know? This can also, yes, be some subtle envy there, just showing off, I am so busy. Who are you anyway? I have no time for you. No? Yes. Yes. These are all subtle ways how this envy can manifest towards juniors. Yes. Or ignoring skills, even though there again we can't judge, you know, others. Like one devotee once told me he was a very good musician, and when he joined in Moscow, Russian devotee, his Guru Maharaj, Mukunda Maharaj, said to him, just forget about your music, just put it on the back burner, forget about it. And he wanted to be a musician for Krishna. So Mukunda Maharaj didn't allow him, forget about it. So then after 3 or 4 years, you know, he was doing all other service, book distribution, this, that. So then his Guru Maharaj asked him, so what about your music? You still want to do some music for Krishna? And he said, no, actually I lost my taste and attraction for it. And then Mukunda Maharaj said, now you can make music for Krishna. You know, so just the fact that Guru or authority might externally ignore our skills does not always mean he is envious. This is what I'm trying to say. You know, sometimes it's very good, especially when people are highly qualified materially, it very easily blows up their ego too much when they immediately get some big position there where they can use their ability. You know, then immediately the person thinks, oh, look at me, I'm so special. You know, I'm doing this important service. So that's why very often it is advisable to first tell the person, just forget about your skills for a couple of years and just do some simple service and just cultivate the mood of humble servant. And that there is quotes where Prabhupada said, even if a highly qualified person comes, he should sweep the floor. You know, it's not that we judge people just according to their material qualification. And oh, he can do something special. No, let him do simple service, clean the floor, wash the pots, you know. Yes, develop a humble service mood. So I'm simply mentioning this because, you know, it's not always like that. Whenever somebody ignores our skills, he might have a good reason for it. Just to bring us a little down from our arrogance there, you know? Yes. But when we ignore other people's skills, then we should look in our heart, what is our motive? Are we doing it out of envy, or are we doing it out of affectionate compassion, trying to help this person to become more humble? That's the point. Yeah.
Isn't something like that more of a guru-disciple relationship? Someone who's just a counselor or a friend or someone at that level, that's a pretty heavy thing to do, to tell them, ignore your skills and just do the service. Would that be more or less reserved for someone really clearly in authority?
I wouldn't think so, because not many devotees are so directly connected with Guru that Guru engages them in a daily level in service. This is usually more on a temple level it happens, you know. And the managers and the counselor, they are meant to give, you know, that guidance, how to engage a person, you know. I mean, if gurus have thousands of disciples, they can't be with, you know, with every single person so involved, you know, what daily service they're doing or something. You know? I would say so. Okay, so yeah, that's basically the envious, you know, way of behavior towards junior. Right? So now, what's the non-envious behavior towards juniors? Yes. Yes, encouraging, uplifting. There's this compassion and affection there, wanting to bring the person up. That is the whole mood, you know. Actually, a non-envious person can connect with anybody on all levels and knows how to bring that person to the next step up, you know. And Prabhupada was very expert in this. He was a shining example of this principle. He could connect to anybody, small child, you know, drunkard, whoever it may have been. He knew how to connect, how to see this person as spirit soul, how to act for the benefit of this person. You know? Even though sometimes it was very heavy, completely heavy. But because Prabhupada had that mood, that consciousness, that motivation, that only interest to uplift a person, that's why Prabhupada could be so heavy. And people would not, as a rule, they would not take offense because they could feel Prabhupada's consciousness, Prabhupada's, you know, compassion and affection and care. You know? Yeah. So Prabhupada was really the most wonderful example of this quality of being able to connect and uplift. And that is really a sign of non-envy. You know? And only a non-envious person can do this. Yeah. Okay, so now, towards equals. How is the envy manifesting towards equals? What did Prabhupada say? Yes?
Filled with pride and talk about your own accomplishments.
Yes. Pride. Talking about your own accomplishments. Chanting your own glories. Right? You know, two preachers meet. Oh yes, I've been here and there, and look here, you want to see the YouTube film of me leading the kirtan at Ikubogeda, and this and that, and this and that, you know, just boasting basically. And then in the end, oh yeah, by the way, what are you doing? You're also doing something? You know, trying to impress the person that actually I am superior. You know, I'm doing so many things, you know, and actually I'm superior. And this can all be, you know, pretty subtle. We can all cover it up as, well, I'm simply sharing here, you know. I'm simply sharing with my friend. What am I all doing? So what's wrong with that? You know? But the consciousness with what we're doing it, that's, the criteria, that's what makes it either humble sharing or boasting. Very subtle, very subtle. Yes. So that's the main thing between envious behavior between equals. There is some competition there. Who is a little bit superior after all here? We want to see and establish our superiority. So therefore some subtle competition there. So what's the non-envious behavior? Let Charshni say something.
Scratching my head.
You were scratching your head, was it? Okay, then you say something. Yes.
Making friends.
Making friends, yeah, that's what Prabhupada says. I mean, in one sense we can say friendship, we can always also have to seniors and juniors. But what is the very particular friendship there amongst equals? What is it based on? What's the mood there? Cooperation. Yes. Service. So there is also some kind of competition there, but how is the competition there? What's the mood of the competition?
I can serve you more than you serve me.
Yeah, or actually I am junior. You are senior. I am junior. No. I am junior. You are senior. No. Right? That is actually the competition because Vaishnava is naturally humble. So he feels, actually no, you are senior. They push each other to the front. You lead the kirtan, you give the class. Oh, I want to hear from you. You speak. So that's the kind of competition that's there. That actually both push each other forward, both want to serve each other, both want to inquire from each other. Share your secret. What's your secret? How do you do it? Distributing so many books, this, that, share your secret. And then, no, but what's your secret? You're doing this and this. So there's a very special intimacy there, based on this humility of seeing actually oneself junior and wanting to learn from the other. So it's a very special intimacy there, very special friendship there amongst equals. Yes. Yes. So now, my question to you, which one of the relationships is most purifying? Who knows? Lift your hand. I think you were there last year. You can't say. So, which one is most purifying?
Towards juniors.
Towards juniors? Most purifying towards juniors? No. Equals, yes. Equals is most purifying. Why? Why is it most purifying? Who can say? Yes. Most ego clashes are there. Amongst equals we have to show true color basically. Whether we want to be servant and take the subordinate position, or whether we want to establish our superiority. Yes. So equal association really brings the most hidden forms of the most biting envy to the surface. Most pinching. Yes. That's what we get amongst equals. We all have that experience, Two equally good cooks cooking lunch for Guru Maharaj. My God, can be an intense experience. Oh my God. If it's an experienced cook and a helper, no problem. But two equally experienced cooks, immediately there's this competitiveness there. Well, what are you cooking? Don't you know Gumaj likes it like this? Last time he told me he really likes it like that. And. You know, it's a whole thing, you know? Yeah, oh my God, can be really intense. Or two equally good pujaris dressing up the deities for Janmashtami. Whew, can be intense, you know? Again, fierce competition. Whose ideas, you know, will be accepted? Now let's do it like this, now like that. Ooh. You know, who is the superior? You know? Yes. Yes. Nice example from the Shastra is Prithu Maharaj and Indra. Right? When Prithu Maharaj wants to do the 100th horse sacrifice, as long as Indra had 100, Prithu Maharaj 99, no problem. Right? But as soon as Prithu Maharaj wanted to do the 100th, Indra was, you know, he couldn't tolerate. You know, Indra has a bit of a problem there, you know, with his envy and superiority thing, you know, he wants to be supreme. So as soon as Prithu Maharaj wanted to do the 100th horse sacrifice, he got so envious that he stole the horse. I mean, my God, how much more envious can you be, you know, than stealing the horse? So there is no sacrifice, you know. And then the whole thing was going back and forwards, stealing the horse back and forward. Actually, it was mainly the followers also who got into it, you know. And there is one purport that Prabhupada says, both Prithu Maharaj and Indra became envious. And that puzzled me, you know. Prithu Maharaj, Shakti Vesha Avatar. It seemed like, you know, for some time he got affected. Maybe just for the leader to go on, whatever. But that's how envy works. It is contagious. You can actually get affected. And then the whole situation was only settled when Lord Brahma appeared on the scene. You know? And he said to Prithu Maharaj, you don't need that 100th horse sacrifice. Let Indra have 100. You already are, you know, a perfect devotee. You be satisfied with 99. Let Indra have 100. So that immediately, you know, established Prithu Maharaj on the transcendental platform. He immediately realized, yes, no need for me. And he let go of it. And externally it looked like Indra was the winner, you know. But actually after a while Indra realized, oh, and he felt actually ashamed, and he went to Prithu Maharaj and apologized. So humility is always the winner. It's always glorious. You know? Yeah, nice story to illustrate this. And it's really the question, the problem is the equal association. Sharing one's influence with somebody equally influential. That's the toughest. It's most difficult. You know? Even let's say two equals meet outside of their circle of influence. Let's say two equals meet here in Mayapur, that's not so difficult. But, you know, one influential person inviting another equally influential person in his circle of influence, you know, that's so much more difficult. You know, because then the anxiety is there, or maybe he will be more influential than me. Maybe people will like him better than me. And to sincerely want that people like him better, that is a question of being free from envy. If you have some envy in the heart, we will not want that. We will not want to see him more successful and you know, yeah, more influential than we are. We will not want that. Yes. So that's why this eco-association, this really brings it out, the most hidden and subtle forms of envy from the heart, from the most hidden corners of the heart. It's the eco-association. Yes. That's why You know, Radha Swami has this nice formula, which I believe is not based on Shastra, but you know, he's giving this out of 100% of association, 60 should be spent with equals. Wow, 60%. 20% with juniors, and 20% with the top. You know, with guru or godfathers with guru or something. That's kind of a pretty amazing formula. The way I understand it, I mean, I've never asked him about it, but the way I understand it is that he simply wants to make this point, how important this eco-association is. Yes. And as we are younger devotees, it is quite natural anyway, we all in the Bhattacharya ashram or something. But then as we become more senior, the danger is there that we surround ourselves with young devotees. Just saying. That's the problem. And very easily we end up with, you know, 85% junior association. You know, and 10% top, and maybe 5% with equal. And that is dangerous. That is dangerous. Yes. In fact, I once, some years ago, I heard a Bhagavatam class here, I think it was by Ambarish Prabhu. He was making this bold statement, and he was saying that although, I can't remember in which connection he said it, but he was saying all those personalities who could not maintain their position as guru and sannyasi had this thing in common, that they did not have enough equal association. And that is very true. That's very true. That's a very dangerous trap, you know, that we can fall into it. That we can think ourselves as being so busy and yes, and that we don't really take advantage of this opportunity to associate with equals. It is uncomfortable for us. We avoid it. We don't even realize. You know? We avoid it. And we justify it by saying, well, I'm so busy. You know, I've got so many things to do. But deep down, it's actually the envy we maintain. Yes. Very, very dangerous. So I remember when I heard this all the very first time, I was running to Narendra Swami and I was asking him, I was like, I don't have 60% equal association, what am I going to do? You know, because as traveling preacher, it's like that, you know. Yeah, it's like that. And he gave me a nice answer. He was saying, be alert in fear. Be alert in fear. Be alert, you know, understand you're leading a risky life for the sake of preaching, and you don't have very much equal association. So whenever you can get it, go for it. You know? Grab every opportunity to take it. Yes, be alert in fear. Be fearful of Maya and be alert, be awake, be attentive that you're not somehow getting off the track there. You know? Yes. And I mean, even the story with Bharat Maharaj, you know, is actually a good example for this, because, you know, his mood of taking care of this deer, it all started with good intentions from the spiritual platform. Oh, he saw this deer, his spirits all there, and, you know, he was the son who had to give shelter, and care, you know. And then he just got so emotionally involved. Really, my God. It is an excellent example, you know, to illustrate what a razor's edge spiritual life is also giving care. I mean, it's a real caregiving story, actually, because that was his intention, to give care. But then, because he did not have shelter, he was not sheltered, he did not have equal association, there was nobody there who could tap him on the shoulder and say, hang on now, you're getting a little carried away here, sleeping with your deer on the chest and kissing it and this and that. Yeah, I mean, when you read the story, he got really carried away, he really did. And there was nobody there who could correct him. So, and that's how he ended up. His transcendental emotions were one more time transformed into a material attachment, actually. That's how fine line it is. Yes, very fine line. Even on the level of Baba. This can happen if we don't have shelter. If we are not sheltered with equal association or senior association. Yeah, good example. Yeah.
How to classify somebody as a equal?
Yeah, that's always a very common question. How do we understand who is equal, senior, junior? Well, we can say the ultimate criteria is one's Krishna consciousness. The ultimate criteria. One's power to uplift others. Yeah? But since this is not so easy, we cannot assess so easily, that's why we accept more external, if not to say material criteria. And usually the criteria are, how many years have we been in Krishna consciousness? But this is rather external, For those of you who've been to the Holy Name Retreat, well, we can have 30 years of empty medicine capsules behind us. So then it doesn't really say that much at all, actually, Just, mind inattentive chanting, not turning towards Krishna. The chanting doesn't have much effect. So, it depends really how we practice. Just the years doesn't say much at all. But we have to somewhere start. So that's why we take these external criteria for the etiquette sake. So one criteria is how many years in Krishna consciousness, when did the person get second, third, first, second initiation, sannyas initiation, or whatever. Also, simply the age is this, criteria. If a person is 30 years older than us, or 20 years, then we simply respect that person for the sake of his life experience. Or managerial position. Person might not be a Prabhupada disciple, but if he's a GVC or temple president, even if we are Prabhupada disciple, but we are not GVC and temple president, well, then we see that person as senior. Even also the ashrams, renounced ashram is always superior to the grihastha ashram. So, let's say a devotee who's not a Prabhupada disciple, but he's a sannyasi, he's considered to be superior to a grihastha. Just the sannyas ashram, commands respect and is seen superior. Yeah.
Senior and junior is usually easy to classify.
Well, equal, I personally like to see it in this way, equal power of influence. You say, because I was once giving this whole discussion and there was one person in the audience and he was saying, well, I don't have a problem with my equals, such and such is my equal here, we joined at the same time. Well, I could even though I didn't know them, but I could immediately sense that he was very influential and the other devotee not. He was just a quiet, not really influential person. Oh, well, then it's very easy to be all friends and stuff if you are influential and he's not influential, you know. Then you don't have to share your influence with somebody equally influential. He's not influential, so that will not threaten you. Of course not, you know. But if there's equal ability, equal flow of influence, equal capacity, even one person might be a Prabhupada disciple, one person might be junior, but if they're equally influential, well, then there can be some tension there, you know. So it's simply, you know, I think the most challenging thing is really this equal influence. You know, that's why I was giving example, equally capable cook, equally capable pujari. You know, when you actually have to share your influence with somebody else. You know, that's the challenge. That's the challenge. And I mean, we can observe, even in our daily life in ISKCON, that so many problems, so many conflicts, so much tension comes about through this point, not being able to share your influence with somebody equally influential. Yes, that's how we get all these power battles and games and all this, you know? Am I again too loud, am I? Wow, amazing. I would have never thought of this. Okay, would you be so kind and turn it down a little bit? The microphone one we are, I think. Right? Hare Krishna. But don't shut me all up, otherwise my voice gets so strained, you know. I've got a chronic problem with my voice.
Вы можете колончику, может быть, сюда? Can you move the speaker over here? Because sometimes I can't hear because I'm speaking, and sometimes I can't hear
Yes,
your
because
voice.
we have simultaneous translation here. So if you quieten me down too much, I mean, I have the feeling there's nothing even coming out of the box anymore.
Yeah, we can hear because you don't hear Maharaj here yet.
No.
You can hear
Right. But just my humble request, don't turn me down completely.
Oh, basically, you're ready yourself. You're ready yourself. Yes, yes, you're ready.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear.
You can hear? Okay, good. Yeah, because the voice is your main weapon as preacher, you know, to catch everybody's interest there. Otherwise, where were we?
Sphere of influence.
Yes. So, what was I saying?
All the tensions that you see.
Oh, yeah. The main cause of tensions, conflicts is when we, you know, that's how we get these ego battles and ego power games. You know, that's the whole problem. You know, most conflicts are based on that. Equal association, the difficulty of equal association. I mean, even in this regard, I hope you don't mind, but I like to also use this example of Prabhupada's godbrothers. This was the reason why the whole Gaudiya Math, Bhaktisiddhanta's mission of the Gaudiya Math fell apart. Because, you know, Prabhupada's godbrothers could not share their influence with their equals. They preferred to be, you know, the acharya of their own little mat, rather than working unitedly on a worldwide Sankirtan movement like Bhaktisiddhanta actually wanted it. But that's a good example to show how difficult it is. How difficult it is. They didn't manage. They preferred. That's why the whole Gaudiya Math split up in 45 branches or something. You know, that was the root problem. You know, and Prabhupada Again and again, he invited his godbrothers, please join me. Let's fulfill our Kumar's mission and vision. Let's have a worldwide Sankirtan movement. Please join, please join. I mean, up to the last day of Prabhupada's life, he was inviting his godbrothers to join. They did not want to join him. That's how subtle indeed envy is, associating with equals or with slightly more influential persons and. Yes. So I mean, if Prithumaj and Indra have that problem and Prabhupada's godbrothers, it's understandable that we also struggle with this, of course. So, but let's be clear, let's be honest, let's understand the problem, let's make the diagnosis here that this is actually envy. Let's be clear on it. And then it's much easier to deal with it. Then when we feel some slight discomfort, some pinching there in our heart, then we can, analyze, we can look at it and we understand, oh yes, here we are, I am actually envious. That's why I cannot associate with this person. That's why we sometimes hear, oh, everybody, the leaders, man, they need their kshetras. Right? You ever heard that? People need their kshetra, their place of where they can rule. Well, if they actually have a mood of cooperation and sharing their influence with somebody equally influential, then they can work together as a team. Yes. And I mean, that's why we have management models where people rotate, right? The rotating system of TPs. 4 temple presidents rotating 6 months each or something. Not a bad idea, because that cultivates right from the beginning this mood of equal association, teamwork. Not trying to take the superior position and getting attached to power and title position, but sharing it with a team. Very, very purifying, very powerful system. Yes. Some temples have it. Yes, so now let us quickly conclude and then we will see what questions there are. Why do we discuss this topic of envy? In connection with taking shelter, giving shelter. What's the connection? Yes.
While there's envy in our heart, we can't associate purely for a start, with our equals, and we can't see if reach out and inquire from us,
Yes.
To lovingly just share Krishna consciousness.
Exactly. So the envy is what blocks us the most in giving and accepting shelter. Right? Yes. Let's be clear on this. As, the envy, if we have envy, we will not want to take shelter. We said it. We ignore, we backbite, we fault find, and we diminish a person's, position. We will not want to take shelter, and we also can't give shelter. We will push people down to establish our superior position, and. So the envy is what blocks us the most from giving shelter and accepting shelter. And going back to yesterday, we were saying, as soon as sense gratification is the goal of life, there will be envy and competition. So materialistic culture is feeding this envious propensity. Yes. Clear. So that's why sometimes we hear this, this mentoring system only works in Chowpatty. Well, because we are too envious. That's why we can't, have it. That's why it's so difficult for us to cultivate it. That's why we think it doesn't work in the West. Because of envy. That's the reason. Yes. Let's, call the disease by its name here, Yes, that's what it is. That's what it boils down to, actually. The envy is blocking, and materialistic culture is all about feeding envy and greed and competition, and it comes along with sense gratification. It's very natural. And spiritual culture is all about subduing that and dissolving that and getting away from reducing the fever of lust and envy. Materialistic culture is feeding it. So that's why, we coming from materialistic conditioning and programming and mindset, and we are bombarded by that culture. That's why it is not easy for us to cultivate this giving and accepting shelter. Right? It becomes very clear. Huh? Yes. And let me continue one more point, just to conclude it. Another point why we discuss this is because any system of guidance or care or shelter needs this element of equal association very, very badly. Yeah. Especially amongst those who are giving shelter on all levels. On all levels. Yes. That's why, we have introduced a Guru Sannyas GBC Sangha. We had it last year. We have every 2 years the RLS, and every other year the Guru GBC Sannyasi Sangha. That's the reason why. Because we're realizing, this equal association is so important. So let all the Guru Sannyasis GBC at least once a year come together, have some Sangha. Yes, nourish each other, exchange, share nectar, and. And same thing ILS, let all the leaders on the next level come together, have that association. Yes. Even in different systems, Sometimes people are afraid of systems or not another system, But like in the counselor system, it is strongly emphasized the association of equals. So in the yatra, the counselors, they meet very regularly. Once every 2 weeks or something, they have a program. Yes. Not only just the counselor meeting with his counselees, but no, the equal association, the counselors have to meet very regularly and develop strong affectionate relationships. Very important part of the whole concept. Okay, so now, let's spend a little bit of time on questions.
I found that when we were making this, it was easy to accept that we were envious. You would openly say, to our competitor, I feel envious of your skills and I want to be better. So tell me what is the secret, how did you get so better? I feel envious about you. And we become devotees, we are actually hiding this more inside so that other people don't see it, or we are not at least ready to accept that we have envy in ourselves.
And what's the question?
The question is that I wanted to ask if we are going to discuss tomorrow or the after, or the daily envy and how to get rid of it.
How to get rid of envy? Well, point number 1 is always hearing about it, becoming conscious, and then ultimately it is a question of desire. We have to be introspective. Without introspection, there's actually no chance to really make progress in spiritual practice. If we are not regularly reflecting, looking within our heart, seeing what is going on there, what is my motive, contaminated intelligence will always find the justifications and always the defense mechanisms sent in and impossible to make progress unless we are really introspective. And then ultimately the main way to get rid of envy is to cry to Krishna. These things are very deep-rooted and very subtle, and Krishna can kill the demons there. Nishingadev, very expert heart surgeon with his long nails. Yeah, really. Yes. If you pray to Lord Nishingadev, I had a few experiences like that where I really prayed and he reacted. Gave the situations for some purification there. Yes. But our problem is that we hang on to the envy. We hope that it will bring some juicy fruits. That's our problem. We actually don't wholeheartedly want to get rid of it and let go of it. We embrace it. We hang on to it. And we think we get some enjoyment out of it, some pleasure, some satisfaction. So it's our problem of clinging on to it. Yes. But if we seriously really beg Krishna to remove, and we are introspective, we're detecting it, we are lamenting, Krishna again, when will the day come? And I can finally let go of all this, And then also, of course, the etiquette is there, as long as we are not spontaneously acting non-envious. That's why we have Vaishnava etiquette, that a senior person is meant to be received like that. We are meant to in a jolly mood welcome him. We are meant to offer service. We are meant to inquire. So the etiquette is always like the crutches, which help us along to gradually establish different patterns of behavior. But it has to be parallel. The desire has to be there, and the introspection, that's one track, and then the etiquette, following the etiquette. Then sooner or later the external etiquette will be internalized. In the beginning it might be formality, but if we have the desire to become free from envy and we lament there is some repentance there, then sooner or later it will become internalized. So it's a whole treatment plan there, see, spiritual life is actually hard internal work. It's not just floating around enjoying beautiful Mayapur and becoming a big and important person here and doing so many important things. No. It's all meant to do some internal work here, to kick a few things out, and that requires introspection. And really desiring the right thing. It's a whole deep thing, I remember a couple of years ago, Bhakti Maharaj was giving a very nice class here, and he was saying, the process of bhakti, it looks so simple. Just chant and be happy, chant, take prasad, be happy. It's so simple. But that simplicity is only the external thing that's very simple. But no, the process of bhakti, most difficult. Because it is internally so deep and requires so much internal work. So it looks very simple, but no, bhakti most difficult, most challenging, because it is really all about transformation of the heart. That's not a cheap thing. No, it's not. We really have to do some internal work. Just covering things up will not get us very far. We might be able to cover up in front of other devotees, but we can't cheat Krishna. That's the point. neighbor and share what this session gave to you. I hope it gave you something. So what did you learn here? What are you taking out of here? Quickly share, 2 minutes. One last thing. I would like, I'm not quite sure how to present it, that you are courageous enough, but I think I'm just going to be straightforward. I'll take that approach. I would like to have 3 groups. This can just be 2 people who are willing, 3 times 2 people or 3 times 3 people, who are willing to put on a little role play for tomorrow's beginning of the session. One group showing envious, non-envious behavior towards seniors. One group showing envious, non-envious behavior towards equals. One group showing envious, non-envious behavior towards juniors. I've done this in many places, and it's actually pretty funny. And it's really like a mirror to ourselves. We see ourselves there, you know. And it's good to use some, classic scenarios from life in ISKCON. So now I'm simply hoping that we find some bold, courageous volunteers. It is so simple, you know. We've discussed it all, just to take some little example from day-to-day life, how we welcome the senior to work, how we are envious, backbite, fault find, this, that, diminish his importance. And then cut at the non-envious behavior. Right? We start with the envious, we finish with the non-envious. Just 3, 4, 5 minutes. Doesn't have to be a long thing, no long dramas. You know, but just a little word exchange there, conversation, this, that, you know. So, who would be willing to show the relationship with seniors? Envy towards seniors, envy, non-envy towards seniors. Come on. We need 2 people. Yes? Okay. You have to help remember. I probably don't remember who's got which group.
Envious and non-envious to seniors.
Okay, that's you 3. Okay, good. So now, who wants to do towards juniors? Juniors. You know, pressing down, making fun, no time, this, that. You know, overly criticizing, chastising, or then the non-envious behavior of uplifting, inspiring, encouraging, affectionate. So, come on, 2 people, 2 or 3 people. Huh?
Somebody is volunteering us.
Somebody is volunteering you.
Oh, we can do this.
Yes? You're going to join the group? You 3. Okay, you are towards juniors. So now, what about the ladies? We have to have 1 ladies group.
I know it's like that.
Equals.
You want to do the equals.
Huh?
We want to do the equals, but we are not ladies, so.
Not my side, I'm already playing the
I play the ladies.
Not in this life.
Actually, Japper did play the ladies. Yeah. He has some experience.
Yeah, so now you're disappointed that you're not in a group. I mean, we can, because the Equal Association is so important, we can also have a men's and a women's group.
Sure.
Yes? Yes? Okay, good. So you do the men's group, Equal?
Sorry, no.
Yes? Yeah, because it is good, you know. Yes. And ladies group, who will be in there? Who will join you? Yeah, a few ladies there. Okay. So it doesn't take that long to prepare. All you have to do is either today or tomorrow sometime, come a little earlier, you know, play it once there in the back, a yard there somewhere or something, and then show it, huh? Okay. So now a couple of other little things. Some devotees in Belarus, they made a CD there with some topics which I like to discuss. Hey, If anybody is interested to take one of those CDs, you're welcome. You know, some people are not so much into CDs, but some people are. It is, there's all kinds of topics which I like to discuss. There's Holy Name Retreat on it, giving and accepting shelter, death. What? False ego seminar. But it is sentence by sentence translation.
To English.
I speak English, somebody translates in Russian, you know, sentence by sentence. So it is a little slow. But anyway, there's just these CDs lying around, so I thought we'll put it on the table if anybody wants to take one. But there is also recordings on the website. So I also put some brochures there, you know, in Russian, in English, if anybody hasn't gotten them yet, especially if you leave soon or something, you're welcome to just take some to Norway, give it to your friends, whatever, you know. Yes. And and then last thing, if anybody wants to discuss something personally, privately, I am definitely available for this. And what we can do is, if there's anybody who's leaving soon, then obviously we will, you know, talk to them first. And people who will be here still for another 2 or 3 weeks, then we can meet later. So all you have to do is either come up to me or Mataji here, she can also help to make appointments and so on. So I'm happy to try and serve in whatever way I can. Okay? So tomorrow 3 o'clock we'll continue. So tomorrow the topic is which qualities do we need to have in order to be eager for shelter. Very important. And then Thursday, which qualities do we need to have in order to give shelter? Wow, that's even just as important. And then Friday, a few more additional things and rounding off the whole topic. Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.